What is scheduling? Now, it is nothing but a day-to-day planning. It is part of the production planning and control. And day-to-day planning falls under the short-term horizon. It is short-term planning. And so detailed day-to-day planning of operations is called scheduling. It deals with questions such as which work centers will do which job, when should an operation or job be started, when should it end, on which equipment should it be done, and by whom. What is the sequence in which jobs or operations need to be handled in a facility or on an equipment? So, this is what scheduling is all about. You plan your day to day activities. For example, if you have n number of jobs that have to pass through n number of machines, you will have to decide which job will go where. Okay, assignment of jobs. Apart from that, you need to also sequence or prioritize those jobs. In other words, which job will go first, which job should go second, which one should be third, and so on and so forth. And that is known as sequencing or prioritization. And day-to-day planning or scheduling is applicable for a job shop type of production and not a mass production. Let me repeat that. Scheduling is applicable to a job shop type of production and not for mass production. Now, it is that means there will be a variety of jobs, and each job has a variety of operations to be performed. The operations are not usually the kind that last for days. Most of them are done within hours or fraction of hours. The variety of jobs and operations generate a multiplicity of semi-finished items which may have to wait for further operations to be done on them. So this is the kind of work or task to be done on a day-to-day basis where scheduling is important. When hundreds or thousands of such variations in operations or materials are to be handled, a systematic, detailed daily plan is called for, and that's what scheduling is important. It is required for a day-to-day planning. Scheduling involves basically assigning different jobs to different facilities or different work centers, sequencing the jobs and the operations at a facility or on a machine so as to achieve the production department's objectives, and third, monitoring the achievement and accordingly revising the schedule or changing the priorities of jobs or operations so as to rectify the deviation. This is the control action. So scheduling involves assigning jobs to different work centers, which is known as shop loading, and then you have to sequence the jobs, okay, with using different techniques such as Johnson's rule and all those priority rules, first come first serve basis, or your last in first out, and so on. Those kind of rules, okay, can be used to sequence the jobs. Which job will go first, which job will go second, which job will go third. And number three is monitoring the achievement. Okay, that you need to have your review points once you've started a task. Once you begin a task, you just can't let it go on without doing any without monitoring or doing a review. You must have review points to monitor the progress of work, and also to check for deviations if there's any deviations in your work. All right. Now, the first part, I told you that the assigning different jobs to different work centers or work facilities is known as shop loading. Okay, now this is not prioritization. This is just assigning the jobs to different work centers. Now, this technique can be done visually, okay, by using what you know as shop loading register, preparing registers where you name the different jobs and the different works facilities or work centers available, and you assign them accordingly. All right, so you can do it visually, or you can also use heuristic methods such as the index method or the assignment problem. So this is what uh, you know uh, shop loading is all about. That is, you assign jobs to different work centers. Now the second part of scheduling is sequencing or prioritization. Now, while scheduling the job shop type of operations system, in addition to deciding which job will go to which work center, that is shop loading, it is also necessary to decide on the sequence in which the jobs are to be processed in any work center. This relative prioritization determines the actual time schedule of the individual jobs. The priorities can be decided based upon one or a number of criteria. Now, what these criteria can be and their relative usefulness shall be discussed in the coming pages. Don't worry about this, because here in this video I'm just dealing with the conceptual part of scheduling and sequencing. But I'll be preparing a few videos on how do you prioritize, how do you sequence those jobs by using those different rules. And I'm going to prepare a video on Johnson's rule. And what is the objective of sequencing? Now, the objective of sequencing are the objectives are completing the work by the due date with as little delay as possible, as many work orders as possible. B. Utilizing the machinery and such other capital investment to the maximum extent possible. Remember, you do not want to keep workers and machines and equipment idle. You want to utilize them to the optimum, not maximum, but to the optimum. All right. And you want to utilize the power capacity to the maximum extent possible. I would say use the word optimum instead of maximum. And minimizing the working capital investment in inventories of semi-processed materials. So this is the objectives of sequencing. And sequencing, there are various uh, methods of sequencing. All right, one is a very commonly widely used technique is a visual aid technique, which is known as the Gantt chart. Gantt. Gantt chart, which was conceived by Henry L. Gantt, Gantt. So the Gantt chart is one visual technique that can be used to prioritize the jobs or sequence the jobs to the different work centers. That is one. But the other technique is the Johnson's rule. Okay, where you have n number of jobs passing through two machines, or you may have n number of jobs passing through three machines. So those are so you have Johnson's rule, but you also have prioritization and queuing rules. Prioritization, like first come first serve basis. All right. Or you use random methods of just sequencing jobs. So there are various ways by which you sequence those jobs. All right, so I'm going to end here. This is just a conceptual video on what scheduling means.